And God made man in his own image. In the image of God made he him. He made them male and female, and God blessed them. And God said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over all the fish of the sea, and all the fowls of the air, and every moving thing that moves upon the earth. And God saw all that he had done, all that he had done, all that he had done, all that he had made, and they were very good. Now you and I reading the Bible, not knowing it to be a psychological truth and seeing it as historical fact, we cannot understand the word. But when man knows the Bible is the greatest collection of psychological truths and was never intended to be seen as history or cosmology, then he gets a glimpse into this great, wonderful book. For man himself is the great psychological earth that must be subdued. In man move all the passions, all the great emotions symbolized as creeping things and animals. In the deep of man actually live the invisible states symbolized as fish. In the deep of man actually live all the unnumbered infinite ideas symbolized as the fowls of the air. It is this man that must be self-subdued. For subdue it, then comes the promise, and have dominion over this vast, wonderful country that is man. If man does not know that he himself is the earth spoken of, he thinks he must go out into the world and conquer it. The world reflects the work done on man. And so when he looks upon this wonderful world round about him, he thinks himself so little. The Bible also tells us he calls himself a grasshopper, and referring to himself as a grasshopper, he sees giants in the land, the giants of industry, the giants of economics, the giants all round about him. And he feels smaller and smaller about him. And he feels small and small because he does not know how to go about actually subduing the earth, which is himself. When man knows it, he will realize that man, as an individual, is supreme within the circle of his own consciousness. For within the circle of his consciousness, the entire drama of life is reacted over and over and over again. He has to start with self, and then he will see this outer wonderful world. This visible world is not what he thinks it to be, a place of exile from God. It is the living garment of the Father. And although to many of us its discordant harmony needs some interpretation, to the wise it has a voice. And the voice speaks of hidden things behind the veil. Hidden things behind the veil of man's mind. For this whole vast, wonderful world is a response to the arrangement of man's mind. For when he knows it, he will look within for the hidden causes. Look into the deep to see the fish and how they swim and how they are related. For this arrangement of the deep is going to project itself as circumstances and conditions of life. And so today, if you haven't started, today is the time to start to really put into practice this teaching and make of this violence a garden of God. It is called Eden, and man was placed within it to keep it and to care it. For the garden of God is man. It is the mind of man. You never find a garden unless a man is present, for without a man there would be a forest or wilderness. But when a man is placed in it, he begins to cut the trees or the seeds of wrong thinking. He clears the ground, and he cultivates the ground, and he cultivates the ground, and then plants wisely. Then you will have dominion, for you will select the seed, you will plant, the ideas you will entertain, and you will cultivate them. Knowing the outer world constantly bears witness of the inner arrangement of mind. You will only select the things you want to project into the living garment of your Father. For the whole vast world round about you is a living garment worn by your Father. So how did he reap? He said he made man in his own image. Well, the methods of mental and spiritual knowledge are entirely different. You and I can know a thing mentally by looking at it from the outside, by comparing it with other things, by analyzing it, by defining it, by even giving a description of it. But we can know a thing spiritually only by becoming it. We must be the thing itself if we would know that thing spiritually. We must be in love if we would know love. We must be God, like if we would know what God is. For God made me, not out of something other than himself. He made me perfect, so he made me by becoming me. There was no other way in the world that God could have made me unless he became me. So God became man, that he may know man in the only way that he could know anything. For he knows all things spiritually, and he calls them very good. So he made me by becoming me. And now I am called upon to go and take care of earth and to subdue it and take dominion. And I am the earth. I must learn to plant as he planted the world by becoming the world. By becoming the world. I must now plant as man by becoming the man I want to be. So I will itemize all the things, name them, give a name to everything I want to express as a man, and then know it spiritually by becoming, and I become it as he became me. I identify myself with it and live in that identity. And I clothe it in flesh. I clothe it in fact. Not one thing in the world that is mine can be taken from me save by detachment from the state where that thing I love has its natural life. If I live in a world of beauty, if I live in a world of friendship, of comfort, and all the lovely things that men enjoy, no power in the world can take one of them from me, save I, who live among them, detach myself from the state where these lovely things have their natural life. When you and I know it, we begin to cultivate the earth. We actually weed the mind of all negative states, all unlovely emotions, and we bring into subjection not the outer, but the inner. And then the outer reflects that cultivation on self. Now, how is it done? You are told in the first book of the Bible how it's done. For the promise is to the man who does it. And the promise is a complete expansion beyond his wildest dreams of the state he planned. The one who first did it was called Jacob. Well, I am Jacob. You are Jacob if you start the plan. Every man is the potential Jacob, and Jacob did it by righteousness. As you are told, he did it through righteousness, and he multiplied exceedingly, so that he increased 1,000-fold his flocks, his cattle. He increased and grew beyond the measure of man in having all the maid servants, and men servants, and the camel. And this is what he said: my righteousness shall speak for me in time to come. Righteousness is right consciousness. The only right consciousness is the consciousness of already being the man you want to be. For that attaches you with an invisible state. You can't see it yet, but you become attached to the state that you dare to assume you are. And you go fishing in the deep. You are beginning now to subdue the deep. You enter a state through the medium of feeling, through feeling that you are already what you want to be. And that is how you grow exceedingly great in your world. For you will be the Jacob expanding in your world. The next one we come upon is Job. Here in the midst of all the trials and tribulations of man, Job says, I will hold fast to my righteousness, and then my heart shall never judge me harshly as long as I live. He will hold fast to righteousness in the midst of storm, in the midst of all the problems of the world. He will assume that he is free and hold fast to that right consciousness, knowing that not in eternity could his heart ever judge him harshly. Then we are told the meek of the earth seek righteousness, and it is to the meek of the earth that the earth is given. As you are told, the meek shall inherit the earth. You might have been taught to believe it meant the beaten man, the man who falls and grovels like the grasshopper. It doesn't. The word meek, if translated, actually means to be tamed as a wild animal is tame. To the man who tames the mind, the man who tames his being, that he can set it any task and have it execute that task, that man is meek, and the meek inherit the earth. And the meek always seek righteousness. So if they began to subdue this earth, I must make righteousness my watchword. And so if I were righteous, I would now single out the nature of the trees I would plant, the nature of the flowers I would plant, the nature of the animals I would cultivate, the nature of the animals I would cultivate, the nature of the fish that I would catch, and I would name them as desirable states. Call in the Bible beauty instead of ashes. Call in the Bible the spirit of joy instead of mourning, called by all these lovely things. As you are told, all the things that are good, dwell on these things. To every good thing, for he called it very good. Everything that I would call the good, which is a righteous judgment, will be the right judgment. I, in spite of the evidence of my senses that would deny it, in spite of reason that would tell me that it was impossible of realization, having discovered that I am the one planting my garden, that this is the only garden to cultivate, that this is the only earth to subdue, I would start now and boldly assume the good, first for myself. Always start with Jerusalem, then go into the world and preach the goodness by knowing the goodness. When you meet someone, regardless of what the appearance would reveal, know the truth for that one and set him free. Know that knowing as he ought to be known first by himself, but if he hasn't known it as true of himself, you at least know it for himself. You at least know it for him. And though you never meet him in the flesh again, keep on knowing the truth that sets man free by knowing he is already free. And you are cultivating your garden. You are bringing it into subjection. You are subduing it. And then you shall have dominion. So you are supreme in your world if you only know the world that you really are. So man is the psychological earth on which this wonderful whirl of events takes place. Man is the psychological earth on which all the animals move. Every emotion is symbolized as the animal. Every fowl of the air is truly the idea you entertain. Every fish of the deep is the invisible state that you could catch if you only knew how to cast your net on the right side. For you fish all night and catch nothing. But then comes one who knows, who is righteous, and he casts it on the right side. Always that right side. And the right side is righteousness, or right consciousness, and I will catch it. I may not see them. I don't have to see them. I don't have to wait for the evidence of my senses to confirm. For I am told, and faith was accounted unto him for righteousness. So I will have faith in the reality of the deep. I will have faith in the reality of invisible states. So it's now invisible. I know it. It's a fish. But I have faith in the existence and the reality of the invisible state I want to externalize. Knowing I can externalize it, for every time I externalize it, I add to this wonderful garment of my Father. And that is my job, my duty. So here, every one of us begin to believe that you are the only earth spoken of in the Bible. You are the one chosen to live in the center of the garden, but make it a garden. For the words are, keep it, and plant it. Well, you have dominion over every idea in your mind. You say you haven't. Well, some may be to you disturbing, but you do have the choice of rejecting it or accepting it. If you accept it, you identify with it, and the state with which you are identified must, by the very law of your being, objectify itself within your world, that you may see by it how you plant that garden. Now don't wait 1 second beyond the time that you observe weeds instead of flowers. Start right at the moment of observation and start to replant the garden. Start really to subdue it. Become the meek, and the meek is the bold. The meek is the bold of heart who does not ask assistance. He walks knowing he can do it. He can fish. He can actually bring into subjection every bird of the air, every idea of the mind. He will begin to know these things spiritually. He will know them in the only way that you and I should know anything, by becoming it. Not to have a world of information concerning objective things and knowing these things only mentally. I must learn to know things spiritually. I must learn to know what love is spiritually by being in love. I must learn to know what security is spiritually by becoming conscious of already being secure. I must learn to know what health is by becoming conscious of already being healthy, and sustain these states in the name of righteousness, knowing that my righteousness shall answer for me in time to come. Make me no promise, for when the father-in-law said to Jacob, what promise should I make you? Just tell me that the offspring born in a certain manner shall be mine, and no other promise, and no wages and no salary. All the spotted ones are mine. There isn't a spotted one among the parents, but every offspring that is spotted. So the parents are not. That is mine. That's my wage and my wage. And my righteousness shall know it for me in time to come. And he begins to assume that his world is people with the spotted calves. And everyone born that was healthy was born spotted. And he increased beyond the widest dream of a man. Well, become that man and start from the simple beginning as he started. There wasn't one thing in the world to encourage him that one calf could ever be born from parents that were not spotted and be a spotted calf. Yet he knew, and he assumed that they had given birth to such things in numbers. They would come, and they came 1,000-fold. So in your case, maybe it's business. Maybe the doctors have given you a final verdict, and it's fatal. Well, I say, in spite of this, and the doctor in his own way is doing his best. He would not have said it to hurt you or to frighten you. He firmly believed it, but you have another law, and your law is that you can assume, in spite of that verdict, that you are well. And then, though tomorrow and the next day the tree doesn't appear, know that in time your righteousness shall speak for you. And like Job, in the midst of all the storms, when he should have gone to the grave, he held fast to the consciousness of already being what he wanted to be, that his heart may not in time speak harshly against him. Well, it didn't. You know the story. And so all through we are told, break off the sins, break off missing marks by righteousness. Blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Now you are told, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things shall be added unto you. Well, the kingdom of God is within you. You have been told that a number of times. The Bible affirms it over and over. The kingdom of God and the kingdom of heaven are within you. They aren't without. You see them seemingly without. That is the response to the withinness where they are. Now seek it and his righteousness. So assume within the mood that would be yours, were you already the man that you want to be. Sustain that mood, occupy it as often as you can, and see how that righteousness shall draw things unto itself. And the things it draws are always in harmony with its nature. It never draws anything foreign to itself. If I assume that I am the man I want to be, I cannot then encounter events that are in conflict with my assumptions. For my world mirrors the being I am. So here, today when you return, read the whole chapter. It's beautiful. But I started with the 27th verse, and God made man in his own image. In the image of God made he him. Male and female made he them. Then comes what is to be done. Then comes the promise, if you do it. Then comes the judgment. It is good and very good. So you start knowing that you are the earth on which you now start to labor. If you do it, you shall be fruitful, and you will multiply. And you actually replenish this world. Though it seemingly is barren, you replenish it if you subdue it. And the earth is self to be subdued, not by beating self, as some people have misunderstood, not by isolating the self in some little secluded spot, not by running away from life, but in the midst of life is the opportunity to become meek. To take the violence that is man, it is individual man, and then bring it into the state of the meek, to transcend the violence by not fighting against conditions. Know that conditions can only reflect what is within the one who observes that condition. So don't rage against it. Leave it just as it is. If conditions remain the same, that is a sure sign that you have not been faithful to righteousness. Had you been faithful to the consciousness of already being the man you want to be, conditions would have to change in harmony with that righteousness. So don't rage against it. Leave it as it is and start today to take this wonderful earth, which is the footstool of the Lord, which really is the mind of man, and start really to work upon it. Then you will not turn from left to right. You will keep the narrow path. You will go out knowing you can do it. I know from experience it will not take long to see shoots appear. It will not take long to see the flowers appear. They will all appear if you will take yourself in hand and by an uncritical observation of self. Watch the being you are. See the condition of the earth as it is now by the uncritical observation of your reactions to life. When you see who you are, that is showing you the state of the earth as it is now. Don't condemn it, just start to subdue it, and know that you do have dominion over all the fish of the sea, the fowls of the air, and all the animals that move upon the earth, knowing them to be the moods of thought, the desires, the passions that move in you. Start to entertain only the good and the very good. Dwell upon them, and you will be people. Your earth, for you are supreme within the circle of your own consciousness. Now you may say, it's a very little one. May I tell you that though you have a body and a life of your own, you are rooted in me, and you end in me, as I am rooted in God and end in God. So every man can say the same thing, no matter if you look into a world of 2,500,000,000 of them, and every year they slip through the gates into the invisible state relative to this world. But as they come and go, every man in the world is actually rooted in you and ends in you, and you are rooted in you, and you are rooted in the ultimate that we call God, the Father. So the whole vast world is simply centered in you. Start now to rearrange it that it may reflect the beauty that you want to live about and live in this world. You do it by assuming the best. Always imagine the best of self. Always imagine first with Jerusalem, and then go out and radiate what you've given to self. If you live in that wonderful state yourself, you will only have the good to shower upon others. For you have one gift that is truly yours to give, and that is yourself. You have no other gift. If you are good, you can give only the good. If you are not, well, whatever you are, that you give. So the story is, you may find today, when you observe yourself, by observing your reactions, that it's not a very pleasant land, but it is still a fertile land. It can be cleared of all these trees of traditional wrong thinking and can be replanted in harmony with the beauty that you desire. And in the immediate present, it will bear fruit in harmony with the seeds you plant. So let us go out determined to bring about a better arrangement of our mind, that we may produce more noble garments for our Father to wear. For this wonderful, visible, objective universe is only the living garment of my Father. It's not a place of exile, as so many believe, talking about home and they're going home, as though they are not now in the very midst of their Father. When you see me, you see my Father. Whenever you see me, you see the state of my mind, for you will see the world in which I live and the state of my mind. That inner arrangement, that's my Father. When you see me projected, you then call it the sun. And my world round about me tells me where I am. All these inner states are places in this fabulous psychological consciousness. Inner state is equal to place, and where I stand within myself determines what I see when I look outside the self. So, when I look out upon the world, that area of my Father's garment, whether it be torn by reason of the inner place where I stand, or whether it be lovely, I see only the inner arrangement of myself. I am forever surrounding myself with the true image of myself, and what I am in consciousness that only can I see. Knowing that, let me be determined today to seek righteousness or right consciousness, that I may reap in the immediate present all the lovely things that I desire. Now, in summary, single out some noble aim in life, having defined it clearly to yourself as a desirable state. The state you would like to internalize. Ask yourself this very simple question. What would the feeling be like were it true if I already embodied that noble state? In response to your question will come a feeling. Assume that feeling. It has reality outside of the present moment. Its being is in complete independence of present objective fact. It has real structure. It has reality in the deep of it. It came in response to your call when you said, what would the feeling be like? Were it true? And you named what you were thinking of. If it was security, if it was health, if it was any state, that fish came from the deep. It's located and you took the eye and placed it in that feeling. You were actually standing upon it, though it's invisible. Now remain on it. If you remain in that state, you are told in the Bible, 3 days you will be spewed out on dry land. 3 doesn't mean 3 days. 3 means fullness. 3 means complete. So if I will live within that fish for 3 days, until the whole thing seems natural and seems real, and it has the sensory vividness of reality, I will then be spewed out as something objective and something that is commonly called in the Bible land or dry land. But it does have reality as you feel it. Only people get away from it because it doesn't have immediate objective fact to confirm it. But you write it for your 3 days and you will know what it was to enter that fish and remain in it until fullness was attained, until reality was attained within. In that state, you were righteous, and your righteousness will speak for you in time to come. It will not fail you. It cannot fail you. I want to share with you today what I consider one of the truly great revelations of all time. On Sunday morning, April 12th, my wife woke from what was really a deep, profound sleep. And as she was waking, a voice distinctly spoke to her. And the voice spoke to her, and the voice spoke with great authority, and it said to her, you must stop spending your thoughts, your time, and your money. Everything in life must be an investment. So she quickly wrote it down and went straight to the dictionary to look up the 2 important words in the sentence, spending and investing. The dictionary defines spending as to waste, to squander, to lay out without return. To invest is to lay out for a purpose for which a profit is expected. Then I began to analyze the sentence. You must stop spending your thoughts, your time, and your money, for everything in life must be an investment. As I dwelt upon it, I saw where everything is now, that through the portals of the present all time must pass, and this psychological now. The state in which I find myself now does not recede into the past. It advances into my future. So, what I do now is the all-important thing, and thought is the coin of heaven. It is the money of heaven. And so the thought I entertain now, the thought to which I consent, as told us in Ephesians, all things when they are admitted are made manifest by the light, and all things when they are manifested are light. And the word light is defined as consciousness. So the state to which I now consent must be made manifest. And when it is manifest, it is only that state of consciousness made visible, coming to bear witness of the state in which I abided. So every moment of time, I am either spending or I am investing. Unfortunately, most of us spend the coin of heaven, and morning, noon, and night we live in negative states for which there is no return. And we could easily have not spent, but invested that moment. So at the end of that day, we really would have a wonderful portfolio. The religious-minded person invests possibly on Sunday morning. Through the service, he is lifted for a moment. If he is not overly critical, he might be carried away with the hymn. He might be carried away with the solo, the organ music, the address from the pulpit. And for a moment, he is investing. But the rest of the week, he spends. Now, you know from experience, if you put all your money into one great concern, it may be wonderful. It may be sound. But at the end of a year, the directors may decide to reorganize and therefore decide to pass the dividend. And if you depended on a dividend check for your daily needs, though it is a good, firm, wonderful concern, when they pass the dividend, then you must either sell some stock or raise or borrow on it, while every moment of time you could have a most marvelous portfolio. And if one passes a dividend check, it does not matter. If you devoted every moment of time to positive thinking, constructive thinking, by not accepting any rumor that does not contribute to the fulfillment of your desire, no matter what it is. It could be the most obvious fact in the world. If it does not contribute to the fulfillment of your dreams, do not accept it. If you do, you are spending. If not by denying, but by complete indifference, complete non-acceptance, you turn to what you wish you could have heard instead of what you heard, said of what you heard. You are investing. It's not the hearing that matters. It's the admitting the truth of it that matters. All things when they're admitted, not all things when they are heard, but if you give consent to it, if you accept it as true, then you either spend by acceptance or you invest depending on the nature of the state accepted. So, this revelation which came through my wife to me is one of the greatest that I have heard. Had it been told in our Bible, it would have been told in its strange meter. And the Lord God spoke unto her this day, and said to her, his servant. And they would have told what revelation would have come in that matter, but it came to a normal natural wife, came in a normal natural manner to instruct not only her, but to instruct her husband. For I was the first one to whom she told it, and I can't tell you what it has done to me since I've heard. On the morning of the 2nd April, for it made me more aware of the moment, made me far more conscious of every moment of the day, so that I am not spending. I must invest. Time is too precious, and because these moments do not recede, they do not pass away. They're always advancing into my future to either confront me with a waste or to show me some wonderful return. If I invest, it is for a purpose, and therefore I hope, not only hope, I expect a reward. I expect a profit on my investment. So a moment spent now, this very day, could tomorrow pay you great dividends. Now, I told a story here 2 weeks ago of Jimmy Fuller. Well, I didn't have all the details of the story, but after the meeting, dozens of you said to me, not only after the meeting that day, but after my meetings at the Ebell Theater, that Jimmy Fuller, to have made the fortune that he made, must have had great capital. Well, I could neither affirm nor deny your bold assertion. For you spoke as though you knew, and many of you almost convinced me that he had great capital. And that's why he turned it into great return. So on Friday night, I asked him to tell me more of the details. He said, when you came here 4 years ago, Neville, I came to hear you. My wife asked me, why do you come to hear Neville? Who told you of Neville? He said, I turned the radio on one night and I heard Dr. Bales. I had never heard of the man before. But at the end of his lecture, which I thoroughly enjoyed, he said, Neville is coming to speak for us, and it's a must. Well, the next night, I so liked Dr. Bales that I turned him on the next night, and for the next 2 weeks, he kept on promoting you. And he was so generous in his praise, I thought, I've got to hear this man. So when I came, I enjoyed what I heard on Sunday morning, and then you announced you were speaking the following night at this place. But it was $2. Well, he said, between myself and the next, I actually had $54. I had a wife and a little boy. We couldn't leave the little child alone. He was a babe. It meant a sitter. And my wife and I came to everything you gave, and one night we could not pay the sitter. And we just didn't have it, but we took our last, which was $54, and came to your every meeting, the two of us. And one night we didn't have it to pay that sitter. 3 years later, Neville, I had not proven your theory. You know my problem, as I told you before. Perchance there is someone here who did not hear it. The man is a Negro, and his problem was that because he was a Negro, all the marks and stripes of the world were against him. I tried to convince him. It was only in his own mind that these stripes were placed. His acceptance of that as restriction made it restriction. But if he could only drop it by non-acceptance, by complete indifference to the pigment of skin, he could accomplish his every dream by acceptance of it. Now, well, in the last year, Jimmy Fuller, by complete acceptance, investing his moment, is now has turned the year into a net profit of $250,000. He did not have 1 penny when he started. He did not raise large capital. He didn't have it. He only invested God's coin. God gave it to him. He gave him the moment, which is time. So instead of spending his thought, which everyone has, and spending his time, which everyone has, he had no money. But he knew that thought was money. So he invested his thought in the now, knowing that it was not going to recede and vanish from sight. That was an investment. It would advance into his future. Well, it did. It's so advanced that he tells me now everything he touches turns to gold. Now he has 3 children. They come here every Sunday to Sunday through Sunday school. He doesn't want his children to start with his stripes. So he wants them to feel what this church gives. So every Sunday, Jimmy tells me many a Sunday, he feels like taking off for the beach or up to the mountains with his wife. But he will not go because he wants his children to have an opportunity he didn't have. He says, my people were very religious, but they must have worshipped a very poor God, for they were steeped in poverty. So I just wouldn't go near the churches of my mother and my brothers and these people, because I couldn't conceive of such a God doing that to us. Yet they never miss service. For when I found in this, what I found here in the Science of Mind Church, I brought my children to Sunday school. Now this is what happened to them. Here God is love, and love surrounds them, and they know nothing but love, that God is love. For one day, my little girl, which is the youngest of the three, was quite sick, a beastly cold. And that night, when the little boys said their prayers, these are the words they used: "Thank you, God. That sister is perfect tomorrow." They could not look at the little girl, sick as she was, and say, "Thank you, God, that sister is well now." But they said, "Thank you, God, that sister is perfect tomorrow." Neville, it was a miracle. The next day, that child was perfect. There wasn't the sign of a cold. A complete absence of all that we saw the night before, and these two little brothers simply gave thanks. Now he wanted a watch. I wouldn't give him the watch. I could have bought 1,000 watches for him. I want my little son to learn a law which I didn't know until recently. So he filled his mind with the possession of a watch, and he spoke of the watch as a live watch, one that ticks. One that ticks, one that is alive, not a toy watch. So then he fills his mind with the possession of the watch. On his way to school, he found a live watch. Now he knows the working of law, that the complete acceptance of the state in consciousness must result in an externalization of the state accepted. So if he accepts the watch, he need not turn to his earthly father as the medium through which the watch will come. I don't want to think for 1 second he has to point to his mother or his father as the only channels through which his good will come. I want him to recognize an infinite Father, the Father of us all, who gave to him as he gave to me everything that I will accept. I want my children to learn it as I have learned. Yes, I could shower him with gifts, but then he would look to me as the only channel through which it will come, that I must not accept. So you should see the little boys and little girls actually live by this law. God to them is love, and the only reality, and love surrounds them. So they never miss the Sunday school here. Then he goes on to tell me all other wonderful things that have happened by the mere acceptance of this law. He said, the getting of my car, this convertible Cadillac, I treated it loosely. I sat quietly in my living room and drove my Cadillac, and I simply treated for this loosely. He said, I didn't put real effort into it. I accepted it, and then when I decided to get it, I simply put in 3 telephone calls. And that day I was driving this car, Neville. Neville. Now, everything happens just like that. Today, instead of going to my office and working in the office, I work behind the scenes. I sit all day and I hear the report that is good for my employees. My entire office staff must tell me good news. Only thing I would allow myself to hear. I ride my car. I'm in the office. I am at home. I'm in the office. But I am only hearing good news. And seldom do I go to the office physically to do office work. So I am behind the scenes only hearing good news. So I have completely forgotten the so-called pigment of skin and Neville. Honestly, I can tell you today, I feel that I am blessed beyond all men because I was born a Negro. I am so proud to be born a Negro. I am so proud to be born a Negro. Proud, I am one. And here is a story that will interest all of you. He said, I had some property to dispose of. I had certain things in investment for those who had money. And so I advertised it, and a man called me on the wire. He saw the ad and asked me if I was the gentleman. So I told him I was the one who had the property. The first thing he said to me, I don't want any nigger property. Jimmy said, I didn't answer, as if I hadn't even heard the word. If he wants to be prejudiced, he may be prejudiced. That's his right. He wants to be silly about it. That's his right. He can spend. He need not invest. So I said, it is perfectly all right, sir. I have all kinds of property. I have all kinds of things for your investment. A week later, he called me up and said, would you come and see me? He said, I went to see him. When I got out of my car, his knees almost buckled, for he didn't know a Negro was coming to see him. and a Negro walked up the stairs into his living room. He said within a matter of minutes, he purchased 30. $7,000 worth of mine that I had to offer. He said the first $25,000 that he bought, he simply bought that to buy back his faith. And then the remaining $12,000, he bought that because it was a very good investment. Well, since that time, this gentleman has spent tens of thousands of dollars with me and constantly calls me to thank me because they are such wonderful investments. Now, here is a man who is proud of his skin. He has no prejudices because that's spending his time he can't afford to spend. So in harmony with the revelation given to my wife, let us all now stop spending our thoughts, our time, and our money. For everything in our life must be an investment. We know the truth. This platform radiates the truth. You are told that everything proceeds out of your own consciousness. But what you and you alone accept as true, that will externalize itself and mold itself in your environment. All the conditions that you will encounter will simply bear witness of the state you have accepted. Well, if you don't like what you are encountering, then stop spending and learn the art of investment, for every moment of time is an opportunity to invest, not to spend. Yet on the other hand, you and I are free. We are free to waste every coin in the world. For that we have a right. We are free beings. We can spend. We need not invest. But if you know you can invest, why not choose the wiser way? Now we are told in the 30th chapter of the book of Deuteronomy, the commandment I command you this day is not hidden, and it isn't far off. It's near unto thee. It is in thy mouth and in thy heart. Now I set before you this day life and good, death and good, death and evil, blessings and cursings. Choose life, choose blessing. But the choice is ours, for we are free. He sets before us this day, this very moment, a commandment. He sets everything before us. It's not far away, it's in our tongue right now. And before me now is a blessing or a curse. I can accept the fact you don't like me. It doesn't matter, you may love me. But if I accept the fact that you don't like me, don't like the teaching, I'm spending my time. Tomorrow you'll prove to me that I've spent my time by your behavior relative to me. On the other hand, if I accept the fact that you do like it because you are proving it, then I would have no doubt in my mind that you could not do anything other than contribute to this teaching. So it's up to me to either bless myself or curse myself. I can choose life, or I can choose death. I can choose the good, but I am free. I can choose the evil. It's entirely up to me. But if you and I love this, accept it, and believe it, then we are wise indeed if, knowing the whole is before us, we go out determined to become investors. Not spenders, not spenders, not spenders, not wasting and squandering our substance, but laying it out for a purpose. Every moment become conscious of the moment. What are you doing? I am accepting now the fact that I am a noble, dignified, wonderful being, that my Father is proud of the Son who is like him. So I will not hear or accept as true anything other than that which contributes to that noble concept. I will hold myself. For I will see that I am secure. And maybe a headline would startle the world, but I will not accept it. For if I don't admit to it, it can't proceed out of me. For all things, when they're admitted, are made manifest, not unless they're admitted. So if I now will admit that using this moment as my moment to invest, if I am, what reason denies, what my senses deny, and I proceed in that assumption, knowing that even though it doesn't confirm itself tonight or tomorrow, I will still live in the assumption that I am what I want to be. They tune in and listen only for the good report. I know these are investments, and tomorrow these dividend checks must come. They must come. That's the law of our being. So everyone here, take it to heart. I know you don't need money, and so I say to the hundreds of you who say to me in private, he must have had money. I tell you, I know the story now. I didn't know it when you boldly claimed that he had money. But now I have it from the source. He only had $54, and the $54 he spent coming to my meetings, even when he couldn't spend $1 on a sitter in. So I tell you, he didn't have it. He has it today. But you don't need even 50. $4, all you need is time, and you have it. It's now. All you need is a thought. That's money. So instead of spending that now, and spending the thought in the now, invest it now. For your now, this very moment, as I stand here, and I will get off the platform in a little while. And you will think, well, now this is gone. He'll come back next year. This is not gone. What I am doing now is not going to slip away. It's going to move forward and embody itself as a condition, embody itself as the circumstance of my life, so that my nows, my reactions to what I'm hearing and saying and seeing, all of my reactions are in the now, and my reactions are spelling out my tomorrow. So I will repeat it through the doorway of now, because he said, I am the door. I am as always first person present. Not I was the door, or I will be the door. I am the door. I am the resurrection. So what I do in the present, now, is not going to recede. It is going to advance into my future, or through the door of the present, of the now. All time must pass. Now don't spend it as it passes. As it passes through the door of the now, invest it. Every moment of your life, see that it is a positive, constructive, noble moment. I promise you a wonderful, healthy, radiant future, if you will invest the now. Now, this being my last talk for a little while, I would like, when I have this opportunity, because the theater, the evil, can't take all of you. I hope that many of you will come this coming week and make it a really fruitful, wonderful week. But I know you can't all get into the e-bell. So here, one morning as I came through the door and said, Neville, you made it so clear on Friday night, something I'd not seen before. For you told us this year you brought a wonderful revelation, and that is the wide difference between thinking from an end and thinking of an end and thinking of an end. For you emphasized that time and time again since you've been here this time. But I didn't get it until Friday. I said, well, how did you get it? He said, your picture of the balcony and the stage. Well, now we have the same situation here. We have a balcony, so we have a stage. Well, if she, having heard it so often, didn't get it, the chances are many of you didn't get it. Well, now she got it by my illustration. So I will repeat the illustration that all may get it. I said that when a man learns the art of thinking from the end, that man is master of his fate. For he defines his end, he formulates an aim in life, and then feels himself right into the situation of that end. So he thinks from it instead of thinking of it. The average man defines his dreams, but he remains back here looking at them before he's thinking of them. The wise man occupies the state of his dreams, so he radiates from it, he thinks from it, and then to use this little illustration. I'm standing here looking out at the auditorium, and I would describe this theater based from this angle, for I am seeing it from the stage. You sitting in the auditorium or sitting in the balcony, you are looking at it from that state, so you would see the screen and the speaker. So the difference between us, we see the same theater from different angles. I would define it from here. You would define it from there. If I desire to get your point of view, while standing here, I would assume that I am seated where you are, and therefore within my imagination, look from that position. I would then have to see the stage, not the auditorium. I would see the thing behind me, this cyclorama, and I would describe the theater from that position, which I am assuming that I am. Now, if that position represents, say, one of security, and this one of insecurity, I would then assume, by physically standing here, assume that I am now secure. And to prove that I am, I would then look from the state of security. So I would describe the world relative to my assumption. If I am still seeing what I saw when I was insecure, I have not succeeded in occupying that desirable end. I'm still only thinking of it. So the wide difference between thinking from and thinking of must be clearly seen, and then see the wisdom in learning the art of thinking from a desired end. So here, look out at your world, formulate your lovely aims in life, and just ask yourself, what would it be like, were it true, that I now embody that state? How would I feel? And in response to that question would come a feeling that corresponds to that end. Learn then to think from that end, though reason denies it. Though everything denies it, you occupy that end. It's now you're investing it, and these will become real within your world. Now, another thought that I tried to make clear, and it's this, which again Jimmy Fuller told me was one of the cues in his success. When the action of the inner man corresponds to the action the outer man must take in order to appease his desire, he will definitely realize his desire. There are two of us. There is an inner man and an outer man. The outer man is always made to say, I of myself can do nothing. The Father within me, this inner one, he doeth the work. What I see him do, that I, the outer, do also. So there is an inner you. If I now sat here and immobilized my body by relaxing it, and then imagine what the outer would have to do in order to appease his desire, and with the outer relaxed, just let me imagine that I am actually it now. So I keep the body immobilized, but I keep the body immobilized. When I imagine that I am actually experiencing it now, I would experience in my imagination that which I would have to experience in the flesh to appease desire. And then imagine that state over and over and over, so that the actions of the inner man correspond to the actions the outer must take in order to realize desire. When that is done, I promise you, it's going to be done in the flesh. No power in the world could stop it when these two actions coincide. But let it always be from the inner you. And now at the end of the silence, this is what we do. Knowing that any time that we exercise our imagination lovingly on behalf of another, we are actually and literally mediating God to man. So we can sit quietly in the darkness and simply listen as though we heard the good report that we want to hear. We look into the darkness and imagine we are seeing what we want to see. This is then investing this 2 minutes. We have taken the moments ago to make up 2 minutes and really are investing it now. So when I take the chair and the lights are lowered, let us listen and let us look as though we are hearing and seeing what we want to hear and seeing what we want to hear and see. And we are actually fulfilling the command of that wonderful voice that spoke to my wife when it said to her, you must stop spending your time, your thought, and your money. For everything in life must be an investment. Let these 2 minutes be your greatest investment.